What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the 5-on-5 Sports Podcast. I'm your host, along with my co-host, Chase Winterbourne. I'm Brock Bierman, back with another episode of college football talk for you, as well as, honestly, we're going to probably talk a little bit about college basketball with some of the news that have been circling social media the last couple days or so. We're recording here on a Wednesday night, probably posting this either Thursday morning or Friday morning, depending on when we get it up, but Chase, how are we doing? Had a being a fan of an Iowa State team that played at night, you had a easier time to watch games all day and prep yourself for a 20-0 win for the Cyclones.
Yeah, doing pretty good, man. I don't know why. We're just in a good mood today, so vibes are high. Yeah, that Cyclones game though did have me a little nervous there.
I think every Iowa State fan at halftime when it was 3-0 was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, like that was probably one of the worst halves I've ever seen Rocco play.
And
Like I'm not even like
exaggerating.
exaggerating.
That's so crazy.
It's really bad. But yeah, I mean, shout out John Haycock, man. Greatest defensive coordinator ever. Just the GOAT, man. So really thankful for him pitching a shutout there on the road. I know it's Houston, but still, that's impressive.
Oklahoma played close against them, and then Oklahoma walks into Auburn.
Dude, yeah. Shout out. I know. Yeah. That game was crazy too. But yeah. Shout out my boy Brent Bloom just cooking some Oklahoma fan on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that. But it was so funny, dude. He was basically like, I forget exactly the context, but like this guy was kind of like talking about like Big 12 being like, this Oklahoma fan talking about the Big 12 obviously sucking. And Brent made a comment about how like Oklahoma only beat Houston by 4. And he just cooked the guy basically. It was great. It was amazing. But anywho, yes, on another note.
I mean, that's just the epitome of Oklahoma. They think they're better than they actually are. They're in the SEC. They got a very lucky win against Auburn. Yeah. Auburn should have won that game if Auburn didn't throw that pick six. Their quarterback made one mistake, and that one mistake ended up costing them the game in that one. And Oklahoma is able to sneak out with a win. Looking at this past week, we had some really, really good games, some magical moments happening in the college football world. A lot of it, of course, circling around the SEC, as well as, just overall college football. I feel like this year has been really entertaining, and I'm excited to see this season really get into the thick of things. We mentioned it last week that a lot of teams are kind of over their non-conference schedule. Of course, SEC teams always schedule their non-conference teams differently than everybody else. But for the majority of the league and the whole college football world, it's conference season. So every game really does matter at this point, especially when you're looking at those automatic bids. And we had some great games, and we have some names more specifically on the Big 12 side that I don't think a lot of people were thinking we're going to be in the conversation of even making the top 5 of the Big 12. And now we're competing for a potential appearance in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I know. Dude, right as I said, I thought I had the Big 12 figured out. I'm so shocked by a lot of these games, dude. Holy cow. Yeah, the Big 12 was nuts this week. I guess, do you want to talk about that for a little bit, Brock, or?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Big 12 specifically before we talk about the SEC. Actually, let's change gears. Let's go to the SEC just because I think if we don't talk about Alabama, Georgia first, I feel like that's kind of a disgrace to this whole idea of talking college football. This game was unbelievable. Final score 41-34. Alabama sneaks out a very close one in Tuscaloosa. And shout out you, first of all, for pointing out that it was actually in Tuscaloosa and not in Athens. Because of that, you made me realize that, and I switched my pick. First time we've ever switched a pick on a live stream. And because of that, I went 5-0 on the week. And I didn't expect that to happen. Very shocked that I don't think I've ever went undefeated in a week of our picks. I know the first year you went like 1 or 2 weeks in a row where you went 5-0 on picks, but this is the first time, and I've been doing this for 3 years. So,
attaboy, Brock.
Very, very proud of myself. I think I went 0-5 once our first year, which wouldn't have shocked me.
0-5?
Yeah.
Don't bring that up, dude.
That was the year I thought that Clemson was going to be a dark horse college football championship contender with DJ Uiagalelei. That was before I learned my lesson. By the way, Florida State got killed, and my sleeper of the week didn't end up hitting because of that. So proving my point that Florida State is on that list of teams that you don't pick against or for.
Yep, add them to the list. Yep.
But getting back to this game, Alabama absolutely was dominating at the beginning of the game against Georgia. 21 points in the first quarter against a Georgia team that has, in my opinion, been known for having a really good defense.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, what was I watching, bro? It probably was like a lot of the Iowa State game.
Yep.
I was kind of half watching the Bama game, and like, dude, I just kept seeing the score, and I'm like, what's going on? It obviously kept going up. I think it was like 28-0, right? Before.
Yep, 28-0.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then obviously like at halftime, I'm like, Bama's got it in the bag. Like, I'm just gonna not really pay attention. And then shout out buddy Zay texted me and he's like, dude, Bama's blowing this. So we started to tune in again. And yeah, that was a freaking crazy comeback by Georgia. They were just, I don't know, I felt like they just opened up the field and were just slinging it and just did not care at all. And it started paying off for them. Just kind of opened up the secondary of the defense. And yeah, obviously made the game a little interesting. And then obviously, you know how it ended, just throw the ball to Ryan Williams and he'll get the job done for you. So
it was an amazing game. And yeah. I'm with you. I wasn't paying attention to it because I was watching Iowa State. I love watching quad box, but when my team's playing, it's got it on full screen.
Yes.
We the people I watched the games with, we watched the Iowa game on quad box, and I was stressing out even more because there was so much going on, and I was worried about the one on the top right corner that was like this big, and I was like, I can't do that. And I don't know how I had the remote for that game because it wasn't my house or anything. And I was just like, oh, well, in that case, we're going full screen for Iowa State versus Houston. So, and when we looked at halftime, we're like, oh, Alabama's destroying Georgia. There's no way we're going to tune into that game. And then after the Iowa State game, we checked in and we're like, oh my gosh, Georgia's driving has a chance to tie it. And yeah, they did.
Lead, yeah, basically.
They took the lead. And geez, dude, this game was unbelievable. Shout out. I don't know if you realize this. It's kind of funny. The only reason I realized it is because I was surrounded by a bunch of Chiefs fans, but Georgia led for a total of 13 seconds. And I looked at them and I was like, that's just as long as Patrick Mahomes needed to come back against the Bills a couple of years ago. But
anywho.
Jalen Milroe, another great performance from him, 374 yards passing. Oh, also had 117 yards on the ground.
Not bad.
As well as 2 rushing touchdowns. Another 2-2 game for him. 2 passing, 2 rushing touchdowns. This guy's had an unbelievable season, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of slept on him heading into the year.
Yeah, he was great in that one. Yeah, it felt like, at least kind of the stuff I saw, he was just running all over Georgia.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
Georgia's
I know, dude.
Defense looked not like Georgia's defense.
No, plus and I also shout out Kentucky real quick, by the way, getting it done at Ole Miss. But yeah, like the week before, I mean, obviously I know Kentucky's offense isn't great, but like Georgia looked dominant in that game too. And then I was very shocked because what was the stat, bro? Like they hadn't given up like a touchdown like all year, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there you go, like 21 points in the first quarter. Boom.
Yeah, they've given up only field goals. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, dude. That's just a Kalen DeBoer-led team, man. What can I say?
Dude, he's got to be one of the best coaches, if not top 3 in the country. And
he's amazing.
I was hesitant because I was like, did he just get lucky at his last place?
No, dude.
And
he's him.
Dude, I'm a firm believer, and he's getting a 17-year-old
that's right.
receiver, dude, 177 yards.
I know. That's crazy, bro. When's his birthday? Does anyone know?
I can't remember what Dawson said on our podcast 2 days or yesterday. He said that I don't think he wouldn't be the legal age to drink until after his rookie year in the NFL if he left after 3 years.
Wow, that's crazy.
Which just shows you like how talented this guy is, because already people are talking about him more than anybody this week.
Yeah, no, dude, he's just so quick, and like I don't know, he's just fun to watch. So
even without that 75-yard touchdown that resulted in Alabama getting the W, he still had 102 yards which is unbelievable.
True, yeah, for a freaking freshman against Georgia's defense. I mean, yeah. Bama did it, so I don't know, man. Always find good players to replace everybody. So,
of course, with that win, that means that, you know, Alabama moves to the number 1 overall spot in the AP poll. Do you agree with that move and moving Texas down? Because I don't know if Texas really deserved to move down, but at the same time, Texas hasn't played a top 5 team in the country yet. So I was curious on what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point, Brock. I don't know. Like I think I get both sides of the argument because like Texas, I mean, there's no reason that like you can move them down, in my opinion, because like I mean, what have they done wrong? They just went out and destroyed everyone they played
with the backup quarterback.
Arch Manning. But yeah, I mean, also though, I get the other side where it's like, well, Bama just beat a top 5 team, and like why? And I shouldn't say for like the whole game because for one half they destroyed them, but like beat a top 5 team, man. So like I totally get that argument too. I don't know. I don't know. Those are just kind of my thoughts. I just get both sides of it. So,
and then I also think about it, and I'm like, if it was the roles were reversed and Georgia actually did complete that comeback, it's such a huge, big comeback that I would have wanted Georgia to jump Texas for number 1. So I guess it's if I feel like Georgia deserves to move up based off of that situation, Alabama probably deserves as well for even holding back on that comeback from being a true thing. So what a game. One of the best regular season games. I've seen some great conference championship, bowl game, college football playoff games, but this is one in recent memory that I'll remember for sure for a while. And I mean, it was just a blast to watch that ending for sure. You mentioned Kentucky coming out with a huge win against Ole Miss, 20-17. And I mean, it's one thing to beat Ole Miss. It's another thing to do it in Oxford.
Yeah, I know.
That game shocked me, to say the least.
I know. I don't know. Like, obviously, like Ole Miss probably should have won, but I was seeing a lot of stuff, obviously, on Twitter. But like, I don't know. People were kind of saying, you know, maybe like Ole Miss should not have scheduled just like a bunch of cupcakes before they actually played like a somewhat decent team. And I'm like, I guess I kind of do get that because I mean, I should have had this pulled up before.
I got it. If you want.
I mean, Furman. Shout out Furman, by the way.
Furman, Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of nobodies. Wake Forest is freaking terrible. Georgia Southern, no offense, man. So, I mean, they hadn't played any, like, real competition until Kentucky. So, I don't know. But I just feel like, I don't know, dude. I feel like it's every year, like, Ole Miss always has high expectations. And then, like, I don't know. They kind of remind me of Penn State, to be honest. But
that's a perfect comparison, dude. That was a perfect comparison. And Penn State, I was expecting, I mean, I picked them to win, but this was a game where they were heading into Illinois at home in a whiteout. And I was like, dude, this could be a potential Penn State drops the ball yet again. And they still fought for a 21-7 victory against Illinois. I mean, these games are what college football is all about, and what's making this season so exciting is that there aren't really like, I mean, there are tiers obviously, but there isn't a clear cut like these are the top 5 teams. That's it. Because I feel like Penn State could give Georgia a good game. I think Penn State could give Alabama a good game. I think Penn State could also lose to Iowa State, depending on the situation.
True.
And that's what's so fun about college football. I mean, Minnesota lost by 3 against Michigan at the Big House, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, they did. And then they had that controversial onside kick call too at the end.
Yeah, don't worry. Iowa fans made sure to point that out.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, whatever. No comment from Chris.
But there's just been some great games this season. Notre Dame, Louisville ended up being a good one. 31-24 was the final score of that one. The funny thing I find from this is that Louisville, their players led in passing, rushing, and receiving like individually. And really? Notre Dame still won. Yeah. Their quarterback had 264 yards compared to Riley Leonard's 163. Riley Leonard led Notre Dame with 52 rushing yards. Isaac Brown had 72. And then Ja'Cory Brooks had 71 yards receiving versus Jaden, I think it's Greathouse. I think it is 61 receiving yards. So Louisville statistically probably should have won the game, and yet Notre Dame came out with a 7-point victory.
That sounds like a Louisville football game, Brock. They should have won the game and they find a way to lose. Yes, exactly. Sounds like Louisville football. No, yeah, I was gonna ask, did you watch any of that VTech Miami game, by the way?
I did not. I was shocked when I saw the score of that, because I was calling a football game. By the way, I need to send you the my final call of that game, because we won by a field goal, and the amount of voice cracks that I had on the game-winning kick. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Oh yeah, dude, send that over.
But I get on my phone and I see two things that night. I see Karl-Anthony Towns getting traded to New York out of nowhere, which
we'll be talking about that next week.
We'll talk about that next week on our Hardwood Convos podcast. And then I see Miami having to come back against Virginia Tech. What is this?
Yeah, dude, this game was. Yeah, I might talk 5 minutes about this, so just tell me to shut up. But
go ahead.
Okay, no, yeah, I don't know, dude, like Miami looked fine. I think Cam Ward, he had I think 2 interceptions, and I don't know, a couple of them were just like, "What are you doing?" Or one of them was like, "What are you doing?" I think the other one was just kind of unfortunate. But yeah, like VTech actually looked pretty good. Miami's defense, dude, did not look good there for a long time. Then obviously they figured it out. But dude, I was gonna say like a couple of my takeaways from that game. I don't know if anyone else watched it, but like it felt like every single time though, like Miami, and maybe we can just talk about not even the game, but like this in general. But like every time Miami, I felt like was doing something good. Like Virginia Tech, I swear, would just like fake an injury and just like lay down.
Oh, yeah.
And like I get it's probably freaking hotter than hot down in Miami, and like you're probably not used to it, but it literally just seemed like every time though Miami had a big play and I don't know. I just feel like we see a lot of that too. And
there was another game. Was that Ole Miss?
Maybe. I wasn't watching that one a whole lot, but
there was another game where a quarterback literally looked at the running back and went, "Go down," and he went down.
Dude, yeah, like I don't know, man. It's just like I get like it's hard to probably punish that because you don't know if someone's actually injured or not.
That's what's so difficult about it, and that's why people take advantage of it.
Yeah,
I think back to the Iowa Penn State game, because that game a couple years ago was really bad. Whether you want to admit it or not, Penn State I legit think were faking injuries. I'm not someone to really call teams out for that, but if you go back and rewatch that game, it was clear.
It was bad.
It was clear.
Real quick shout out Everett Edwards, Iowa State legend, for faking an injury against, I forget who it was, but if you know, you know.
Oh yeah.
Brock knows what I'm talking about, yeah. But yeah, anywho though, obviously the game got crazy, and then dude, VTech got robbed, bro. I'm sorry, I know you're a Miami guy, but they got absolutely robbed.
Hey, I love Vinner Sandman, man.
Yeah, I forgot you do. Seriously though, like I don't know if you saw like the replay of that all, but like okay, like you know, it probably wasn't like actually a catch, but like the call on the field, they called it a touchdown. And like it was hard to, and like, or what do they always say, like indisputable like evidence,
indisputable video evidence.
Crap, yeah. And dude, there was no chance. Like even like the rules analyst, or whatever you want to call it, was like saying like there's not enough to overturn it. And basically all the ref said was the call on the play, or I don't know the exact words, but all he said was it has been reversed. And like
didn't give a reasoning.
No, and like you know how they always give like a reasoning and stuff, just didn't say anything, just left.
But it was at Miami, so why would they, like, if it was at Virginia Tech, I guess I could understand why they wanted to get in and get out.
Yeah, I don't, like that tells me 100% the ACC just wanting to keep their better team.
Okay, I'm watching the play right now.
Yeah, which I mean, it probably wasn't a catch, but like the call on the field was a touchdown, and it's hard to. But yeah,
that's a tough call.
It is. It's just like, how do you overturn that though, and like not like say anything and just run off? I don't know. That's just my thoughts, but
that's rough. I will say though, this is the Virginia Tech team that a lot of people were kind of expecting to see at some point this year. The fact that they are 2-3 is kind of a disappointment.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what they're talking about during the game too. Like, they're like, you shouldn't obviously like going in this season. Like, this wouldn't even be like a shocker right now. The game's close.
Yeah,
and I don't know, just kind of dropping the ball this year.
That's just unfortunate for them. That's a heartbreak. That's something normally though that happens to Miami. So the fact that I'm telling you, something about this Miami team compared to years past.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I feel like they've slowly started figuring out their issues, and they've been able to get over that hump of like the close games, blowing games, whatever it is situation.
Yeah, no, I think you might be onto something, Brock. You might be onto something.
As much as I know you hate Cristobal.
I don't hate. I just think he's a bad coach. That's all I think. I have nothing.
Again, like you said, a lot of football left. Miami can still blow it, and like they did against Georgia Tech or whatever it was last year.
Yeah. I mean, my team is 1-0 against Mario Cristobal, so I have nothing against the guy. That's all.
I love it. I love it. Before we get into we'll get into the Big 12 now. We'll talk a little bit of Big 12 football. Some really good games this weekend. Some teams, like we mentioned earlier, are starting to stand out over others. Chase, who is your favorite right now of the Big 12 conference to make the conference championship game? Is it one of the 4 undefeated teams of BYU, Colorado, Texas Tech, Iowa State? Correction, there's more than 4. There's 6 undefeated teams.
Yeah.
Arizona or West Virginia, or is it the field?
I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you, Brock. I don't know anymore, man. I thought I had it figured out, and yeah.
I feel like there's a situation Oklahoma State can go from 0-2 to making the Big 12 championship game.
Dude, I am so over that team, by the way. Oh my gosh, that was the worst pick I've ever had in my life.
They struggled big time.
Get a job, Mr. Bowman. Get a freaking job, dude. I hope you're listening to this. You are awful, man. So bad, Brock. I don't know if did you watch that game?
Yeah. I will tell you that Sarah multiple times went, this quarterback's bad.
Yeah. Thank you. Sarah knows ball. Yes. Congrats, Brock and Sarah, by the way. Woo woo. Anywho, though, dude, yeah, like just some of his throws, bro, it looked like a noodle arm. Like, I don't even know, man. Don't get me started. But anyways, back to your question, bro. I don't know. It's probably kind of biased, to be honest, but I literally might say Iowa State, or I still kind of trust Utah. I know they just dropped the ball to Arizona. I still think they're a solid team, but I would say, can I give like 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Probably biased, I know, but Iowa State, I still trust in Utah. I like the BYU hype, but I'm still not 100% sold on that. And I hate saying it, but I still think Kansas State's probably a solid team. I wish they weren't, but they're still a good team. So
my picks, I'll give my top 3 too. I like Kansas State still as well. I think Kansas State's going to figure it out. I think that Iowa State Kansas State game in November is going to decide a spot in the Big 12, whether it's deciding Iowa State and Kansas State making it, or if it's deciding someone else based off of final standings and everything. Like Iowa State could be a situation where if Iowa State beats Kansas State, it allows some other team to get in there, or vice versa, depending on the situation that we're in November. So I still think Kansas State will be a favorite. I probably would give them the best odds.
Sure.
Honestly, Iowa State's number 2 for me. And number 3, dude, watch out for Arizona, because their schedule favors them so well.
Really? I didn't even see that. Let's take a look.
They play Texas Tech this week. Then they go to BYU. After that, it's 2 home games in a row versus Colorado and West Virginia. At UCF, Houston at home.
True.
TCU on the road, and Arizona State. They don't play Iowa State. They just beat Utah 23-10.
True.
And they don't play Kansas State.
Yeah, they had a tough. Oh my gosh, that's brutal though. Playing at K-State and at Utah to start the year.
And they won one of them.
True. Yeah, good point, bro. I didn't even realize their schedule.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I buy the BYU hype either. So that's why I could see them coming in, going into BYU territory and just walking out with a win. And if Arizona can do that, they can end up making the Big 12 championship their first year. That would be crazy.
I think, I agree, bro. I think the thing that kind of surprised me, and I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't really watch the Arizona-Utah game. I was kind of slumped, but I'm really surprised at how, and I get Utah obviously has not had Cam Rising. And hey, did you end up saving that tweet I sent you, by the way?
No, about how, you can say it if you want.
I'll have to listen to your, I think I don't know exactly what it said, but I think basically since DeMar Hamlin like almost died, I think he's literally played more games than Cam Rising.
which is crazy to think.
Cam Rising also, bro, go get a job. Anywho, though, I was really surprised by Arizona's defense, man. And I know Utah was throwing a backup out there, but only 10 points, man. Like, and Arizona's defense, I feel like it struggled a lot to start the year. So I'm very impressed with that. More of that part of the game than anything else. So, I was going to throw that in there too for you.
If you want to beat Arizona, stop receiver McMillan, dude. He's got over 503 yards already, 4 touchdowns. Over half of their quarterback's touchdown and passing yards stats for the year. So he's been a dog for them.
Yeah.
But the Big 12 is wide open, dude. It's fun. It's my favorite conference. I don't get why people can't enjoy the Big 12, dude. It's a complete blank show, but it's a fun show.
Hey, is Colorado legit?
No.
Okay. I just need a reaction.
No.
Okay.
I don't. They will lose next week against Kansas State.
Oh, that's who they play. Is it at K-State or home?
It's at home.
Oh, really? What time?
9:15 p.m.
Yes, dude. No way. All right, perfect. That's going to be amazing. That's next week though, or this week?
Next week.
Oh, okay. Never mind. That'll still be good, but okay.
Next week's slate. The next 2 weeks after this week, the slate of games get juicy, dude.
I think it is next week's slate that is absolutely loaded. Yeah. I feel bad if you have to go to a wedding.
Yeah.
Yes.
So looking at Colorado's schedule, though, they still have K-State, Arizona, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State on their schedule. And I feel like they could, it's not easy. They do have Cincinnati, but I didn't include it. I'm not including Cincinnati on that conversation. No offense, Cincinnati. But
dude, I was kind of sleeping on Cincinnati. Yeah, they kind of impressed me Saturday night. I'm not gonna lie, man. Not a great defense, but I don't think they're as bad as like what people think. But
but also Texas Tech has, I think they're like the only team with 10 plus passing touchdowns and 10 plus rushing touchdowns this year in the NCAA. No, correction. Really? They only have 8 rushing touchdowns, but they're getting close to 10 plus for each.
Sure.
But their defense is trash.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why, like, you have to outscore Texas Tech to beat Texas Tech because you're going to get points.
Yeah.
I don't know. They remind me a lot of Cliff Kingsbury's Texas Tech teams where you have to literally outscore them to be able to beat them.
Yeah, Brock, do you want to talk about Cliff Kingsbury or
no?
That was mean. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sarah knows how much I hate Cliff Kingsbury after last weekend.
Yeah,
Sunday was not easy for me. The best part though was that the 49ers were on the screen right below it. So
there you go.
Seeing Brock go hi mom on TV cool. Made me a little bit happier, even though Cliff Kingsbury put up 42 against Arizona, even though I don't think I've ever seen him score 42 as a head coach of the Cardinals. So he's dead to me. I supported him so much, even when he got fired from Texas Tech, and he never brought me happiness except for a 7-0 start, just to be 8-8 before they switched over to 17 games or whatever it was. So screw him.
Screw him.
The only thing he ever did was no, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Before we start talking about the news about college basketball that we hinted at, you wanted to talk a little bit about your boy from Boise State who absolutely balled out last weekend. I'll basically just open the floor to you. I think so just to recap everybody, Boise State defeated Washington State 45-24, future Pac-12 opponents.
That's
by
right.
the way.
Yep.
And Genty put up 259 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. What a performance. What was your thoughts? And I mean, you can give an argument. A lot of people are arguing for Travis Hunter. No one is talking about Genty being a potential Heisman candidate except for you. So why do you think Genty should be a Heisman candidate?
All right. Hey, is this where you roll the clip, man? Can you roll the clip?
I got you.
Okay, this is why I think he's a Heisman candidate, man. I'm sorry if you're listening to this, but please just keep watching this clip. Bro I swear he has like 5 beast quakes every single game. I mean, I think that was his first touchdown, by the way. I mean, what in the world? You can just keep watching it throughout the whole clip. But dude, this guy is crazy, man. And like the thing is too, is like he's not that's nuts. He's only a junior too. Like a lot of people thought he was a senior. No, this guy's only a junior. So he could still come back next year. I don't know if he will, because this guy should be playing on Sundays. But dude, yeah, freaking crazy. I forget. I don't know if you got his like stats saved that I saved you, but I'm pretty sure it's like over 800 rushing yards already on the year.
Yes, he's got 82 carries for 845 yards and 13 touchdowns, an average of 10.3.
Dude, that is crazy. I'm just obsessed with this guy. But yeah, I think only played 4 games too, Brock. That is on pace. Pretty much, he's on pace to have a 2,000-yard rushing season.
And we never see that.
We never see that. Besides, unless you're Troy Davis and you get snubbed from the Heisman. But that's
or you're from Wisconsin.
Or you're from Wisconsin. Yes. But anyways, the Heisman is a quarterback award, so he probably won't win it. But if you just have been watching these clips with me here, I'm not seeing this anywhere else in college football, man. So let me watch this hurdle one more time. Yeah. Big fan of Ashton Jeanty. Boise State is also, I hinted on it earlier in the year. This is a very good team overall, not just Ashton Jeanty. I seriously, man, watch out for these guys the rest of the year. They're gonna put some people on notice. So, yeah, that's kind of my Ashton Jeanty hype tape for the week. Thanks, Brock, for showing all this. So,
what are you doing October 25th?
Probably watching Ashton Jeanty or watching the Dodgers in the World Series.
Well, I was gonna say, do you want to go to Las Vegas since since UNLV's been my team and Boise State's been your team?
Is that okay? Yes, mark the calendar. That would be a great game, dude. And yeah, Brock, do you want to talk some UNLV football real quick?
Yes, we definitely need to hit on UNLV. Probably won't hit on it as much because things have happened since then. And I mean, it's the elephant in the room about college football. Matthew Saluka for UNLV enters the transfer portal after only playing 3 games for the university and plans to use his red shirt. And his reasoning is because he was made promises, according to him, that were not fulfilled, basically hinting at NIL-related content. But let me get that graphic back up there. But, yeah, basically says that he wasn't given whatever amount. I think he said it was $100,000 or whatever. I don't know if it was ever actually released by him or his committee, but wasn't fulfilled. So he entered the portal. Is going to use his red shirt, and yeah, pretty much basically giving the middle finger to the university.
Yeah, basically. And honestly, Brock, I think they're better off without him.
Yeah. Before I get into what they did this week, UNLV did release a couple statements, as well as the people involved with their NIL collective, and that no formal offer was actually made to Saluka and from UNLV or the collective, and UNLV has done everything in its power to remain in terms with the NCAA's policies against pay for play, which is a big reason why maybe Saluka feels like he's been punished for whatever deal that he was promised. Nothing was in writing, and when you don't have anything in writing, you're not going to get a deal done. So it's unfortunate for both parties, because I felt like UNLV had a good start with him, but probably didn't matter. UNLV walks in to the week losing Saluka and puts up 59 points against Fresno State and won 59-14. This team is now 4-0, 2 wins away from being a bowl eligible team. Yeah. Honestly, Boise State and UNLV might be the favorites for that dark horse or wild card, not Power 4, Power 5 automatic bid.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brock. I literally cannot believe the final to that game, dude. I think Fresno is honestly a very solid team, and I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm kind of speechless at the score. I mean, they just absolutely took it to them. So yeah, October 25th, mark your calendars, man. If you're not doing anything out there, people, I would be watching this UNLV Boise State game if you're a college football junkie like Brock and I. This will probably determine, who's going to probably finish at the top of the Mountain West, in my opinion. So, where's the game at? Las Vegas, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Thank you, Brock. I had no idea they even played each other. So,
yeah, I'm super excited for that one. I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce UNLV's new quarterback. I think it's like Haj Malik Williams.
Yeah.
I think so. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to figure that out over the next week. He had 182 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and then had 119 rushing yards and 1 touchdown with an average of 9.9 yards per carry. So maybe they don't need Toluca. Maybe it actually opens their offense a little more than they originally expected. Speaking of the Mountain West, though, Mountain West announces that UTEP is joining their conference, which I feel like is a great move because I do think UTEP is a very good program that they can add. It's a smaller brand, but it's a brand that I feel like it's growing, especially in the football world as the years go on. What were your thoughts on this? UTEP wasn't even on my radar for potential teams joining the Mountain West.
Yeah. Honestly, Brock, I'm just to be real with you. I didn't even know this happened. So this is breaking news for me.
Welcome to the Mountain West.
Yeah, welcome to Mountain West. If you want my live reaction, here it is. I actually like the move though, dude. I really do. I think that's a solid move. And yeah, like you said, Brock, you said football has actually kind of been on the rise here recently. I don't know though. Like, it's kind of sad because like obviously the Mountain West used to have like a lot more like powerhouse teams, but like I like what they're doing though, man. Still keeping the league alive. I think UTEP's actually a pretty solid team for this Mountain West. I don't really know a whole lot about them this year, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
But, plus it's always like a fun venue, dude. Down at the Sun Bowl. Got that in the Mountain West now, so I like it originally. I like the thoughts, man. So
for sure, I agree. I feel like this is going to help the Mountain West. I'll see what they will go from here. They do have, 8 teams now? So I wonder if they can stay solid, if they'll add 2 more teams, or if they'll just stick with the 8.
Yeah.
But we'll see what they do from there. Obviously, the big news involving college basketball is that the team that a lot of people thought may jump to the Big 12 actually makes the move to the Pac-12. Gonzaga announces, and the Pac-12 announces that Gonzaga will be making the move to the Pac-12 here. The first university to join that doesn't have state in their name. So big news there for the Pac-12. I think it's a good move because I actually do think this will be a pretty solid basketball conference. It will be a big improvement from what conference is Gonzaga in right now? The WCC.
WCC.
Yep.
WCC.
So they will have more competitive years where they can't just walk in and assume they're either getting first or second, depending on St. Mary's.
Yeah.
I actually do think, I think you mentioned this, that St. Mary's might be a good team to join the Pac-12 as a basketball-only conference as well. Basketball-only team. I don't know if they actually would do that. And I don't remember if that was you that said that. I think someone...
I don't think that was me.
Okay, someone mentioned it to me. And I actually don't think that's a bad idea. Maybe the Pac-12 might want to be similar to the Big 12 where they can join forces and just be a basketball-related school, and then football can help out with financials.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. Whoever told you that, I never thought about that. Good point to whoever told Brock. It's actually nice now. Gonzaga will be in a pretty solid basketball conference, so I won't have to see them get like a 1, 2, or 3 seed every freaking year and then get bounced, and people are going to be shocked. So yeah, it'll be nice to actually can play some competition, and maybe they actually might make it a little bit farther now, because they actually play good teams all year. So yeah, I like it though for the conference. Obviously, Brock and I are huge college basketball guys, so it'll be nice to see Gonzaga get tested more than 1 or 2 times a year. So
I agree. I feel like this is just both for both the Pac-12 and Gonzaga.
Yes, I think it's good for both. I agree.
We'll see what the Pac-12 will do from here. They do have 8 teams now. 8 teams for only basketball, though. So I feel like that means they're not completely done here.
Yeah.
Which might be a good reason for why they might bring St. Mary's to get that 9th basketball team, bring in another football team, so then you have 8 for football and 10 for basketball.
Yeah. I would honestly keep the lookout for that. Brock was all over that. I like that, dude. Good job.
All right, new segment that we're going to add here. What is Brock watching? We're going to add one for Chase in the next week. This is something that I just added here in the last couple hours before we started recording here. From movies, TV shows, to pay-per-views, UFC related stuff, and documentaries, basically to just give people what we're watching this week. And it can be anything from a sports game related. So like if you're like a few weeks, I'll have UNLV and Boise State.
UNLV and Boise, yes.
on ours, but just to get things started, I thought about adding one, and it's more specifically because last week and a half I've been binging stuff on Netflix. It has been unbelievable. I went through 2 series in the last week and a half, and I got to share them just because I feel like they were great documentaries. You probably will actually know at least one of them based off of. Well, actually, when you see this, you'll laugh because it's just the epitome of my personality and things I like to do and watch and get entertained by.
So Woodstock 99?
No, but I did watch that recently again.
Why am I not surprised?
Documentary.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, though, it is kind of based around the 90s a little bit. I watched the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix, and dude, I cannot recommend it enough if you want to know about the ins and outs of the professional wrestling world and the intelligence yet evil side of Vince McMahon.
Dude, yeah.
There's so much stuff that people don't know about him and his way of running a business. And if you want, this documentary is so good because it literally hit every emotion that you can possibly think of. There was parts where I was happy because like I remember all these things that either I grew up watching or I've seen in the past. I've got sad because it references a Owen Hart's death during a premium live event that they still went on with the show with. I can go on for 2 hours about my opinions on that.
Wait, did it have more emotions than Inside Out 2?
It pretty much hit all of those.
Wow. Okay.
It's unbelievable. Okay. I got angry too because some of the things he did in this industry is just shocking that he didn't get caught earlier. And the documentary was actually changed because of recent allegations and stuff that came out in the last year. They were just going to do a documentary about him. And then things came out and they had all these interviews already. So they were like, okay, we're going to find a new storyline to this. And it's really good. There will be things that you like, dislike, hate, and get sad about. You know me, I'm a huge Shane McMahon fan.
Here comes the money.
I've gained even more respect for him after this documentary. The things that he's done to just even try to get his dad Vince to even accept him and be happy for him or whatever is kind of sad. Shane McMahon actually had the idea before Dana White to purchase the UFC.
Really?
And Vince McMahon thought it wasn't a good idea. Well, look at where the UFC is now. It's funny because actually the UFC and WWE are owned by the same company now, but
yeah.
Don't
spoil it, bro. Gosh.
Well, I mean, it's not really huge spoilers because it's a documentary. You kind of know what happens, but that's one of them that I recently finished. The other show that I binged is also a professional wrestling show. It's actually more of a TV show, though. It's called Heels. It was on Stars for the longest time, which is a premium subscription cable network or whatever. And so I was never able to see it, and they canceled it after 2 seasons, and I wondered why. And then it went to Netflix. And I watched it within a weekend, and they're like hour episodes. There were 16 total episodes, and I watched it within like 4 or 5 days, dude. It was so good. The last episode was so good that the ending upset me so bad because they canceled it because they were setting up for the 3rd season.
Oh, sure.
And for whatever reason, they pulled the plug. I don't know the reason on it. And
what?
It upset me. Like, I can't say what happened because it will spoil it. Highly recommend watching that. I will mention that both of these documentaries probably wouldn't want to watch these with children or shows. They're
watch them by yourself.
PG-13 edge. Well, actually, language-wise, they're probably both rated R. So if you gave them like a movie rating or whatever, viewer discretion is advised, I guess, with that. And then what's on deck for me this weekend? When I get back from Iowa State versus Baylor, this is what I'm tuning into. Bad Blood. They got a match. The match I am looking forward to, man. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell.
All right.
Just because I know from being a huge Punk fan that he will bleed at some point. whether he actually uses real blood. He's been known to actually blade, which means cutting his forehead to actually bleed on purpose. So it's going to be brutal. It's going to be entertaining. And then, our boy Roman is back too. So that's all that matters. Acknowledge our tribal chief.
Acknowledge him. Thank you, Brock. Yeah.
So that's what I got on deck. So this is going to be something that we're going to do where we either have something that we've recently finished, we're getting ready to watch, or what's next, based off of things or whatever that we're watching. And sometimes it can be related to sports. Sometimes it doesn't have to be. So
yeah, add Outer Banks for Brock here soon.
Does that come out soon?
I think it does. I don't know the date. I know it's soon though. I could probably look it up.
I probably actually will end up binging that. It's one of those things where it's like I'm too invested with it. I'm not gonna lie, last season sucked.
It did. October 10th is the date.
But it's like I've already watched all the seasons, so I might as well just keep it going until they can it.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching and what I'm watching this weekend. I'm telling you, it's gonna be like 2 a.m. and I'm gonna be watching a pay-per-view.
I'm gonna be on the edge of a seat.
Oh yeah. Waiting to see if my boy The Rock shows up, but that probably won't happen, unfortunately.
You never know.
They're saving that for Survivor Series, man. I'm telling you.
All right.
Thank
you for sharing, Brock.
Let's get into our games of the week.
5-0, Brock. Attaboy.
First time we don't have the same record.
I know.
And it won't happen this week again.
Yeah. All right. I'm excited to hear your picks. I don't really feel confident with mine, so.
Yeah, that's not a good thing because we have some similar ones.
Oh God!
So
I'm excited to see this.
Games of the week we have this week: Texas A&M hosts Missouri at 11 a.m. on ABC. Great way to start a college football Saturday with a Texas A&M team that hasn't been disappointing, but I feel like a lot of fans may have expected a little more from them this year.
Yeah,
and Missouri team that I feel like a lot of people thought had an easy route to the SEC championship game. Some people at Chase have actually said that they are a little overrated, but we'll see what we have for our picks there. And then we go to another 11 a.m. game between number 22 Louisville hosting SMU. We've mentioned Louisville is one of those teams that we hate picking against. SMU also had a stinker to start the season, but they've kind of bounced back over the last couple weeks.
True.
2:30 on ESPN, we got a number 12 Ole Miss looking to bounce back against South Carolina. I think I have the location wrong, if I'm remember.
Yeah, I think it is at South Carolina. Yep.
So it's at South Carolina, not at Ole Miss. But still, number 12 is going up against an unranked Gamecocks team that played pretty closely against LSU a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
when it was at South Carolina.
Yep.
And then we go to 6:30. Big Ten matchup, NBA. I put there on the location, the channel. That's hilarious. NBA / Peacock. Washington versus number 10 Michigan. You can tell I'm struggling today on the graphics. Washington, I think, is favored.
They are. That is a rat line.
So
that is very weird.
We'll see if either of us picks Washington in that one, but Washington at home is favored against number 10 Michigan. And then Saturday night at 9:30, ACC battle at 9:30 p.m.
After dark.
Cal hosts number 8 Miami that got lucky against Virginia Tech last week. Cal had a close game against Florida State. I think they would be undefeated if they didn't lose. Did Cal play last week? I don't remember for sure.
See, I want to say no. You can double check me on that, but I don't think they did.
I'm looking right now. I think they had a bye week. Yep, they had a bye week. So Cal would be undefeated right now. College Game Day is going there, which I think is hilarious. Is Herb Street calling that game at 9:30?
He might be.
That might be one of the latest games I've ever heard Herb Street ever calling.
Now I'm kind of curious.
I assume he is. Yeah. There was no other ESPN game that I'm like, yeah.
What he might be. I guess we'll find out, right?
Yeah. So
we'll be watching. Okay.
We got about 11 minutes left, so we'll go through these a little quickly. Chase, what's your pick for Missouri A&M?
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of analysis for all these games, so this will be quick. My analysis for this one, you already know how it's going to go, Brock. I just dogging on Missouri with that stupid 9.5 win total. And you know how it is, man. They're just going to get lucky the entire year. So I'm picking Missouri strictly for that reason because that's just how it's going to be. So, yep, I'm taking Missouri.
Short and sweet with that one. Good Lord, man. I do think Missouri's going to also get the win. Brady Cook has had a. Oh, whoops! Actually, I forgot.
Whoa!
This is when I switched last minute. So I actually am taking Texas A&M because it's at home.
But that's it? Because they're at home?
Because they're at home. Because Brady Cook has had a good season, and but he's only thrown 4 touchdowns. Is something that I was going to point out with that one. True. So I was going to say maybe this is a good opportunity for them to have a breakout win. The line is, I think, at A&M minus 2.5, so it is pretty much a pick 'em. So I think when I made this graphic, I've exported it 4 different times, and each time it was me switching A&M and Missouri for me.
Make up your mind, man.
I really don't have a solid picking for this one. This is a good chance for Missouri to really establish themselves as a really good team. At the same time, this is a good chance for Marcel Reed, the freshman for A&M, to establish himself as a future star for A&M.
Yeah, I think it should be a really good game. I'm excited for that one. I don't know how much I will to watch, but yeah, that should be a very good
watch
game.
Much of it. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of stay away from SEC games. I don't know why.
Rock is a hater, atta boy.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. All right, next game. Puke. Literally no reason, but I'm taking SMU because we hate losing. Hey, it worked last weekend though. Even though I wish both teams would have lost, but yeah. And honestly, like this literally would not even surprise me if SMU won. Like this is just a hate pick. But like I would not even be surprised, dude. Like this would be such a game Louisville would lose.
So, SMU dropped the ball against BYU. But outside of that has played really, really well on the offensive side. So I'm actually, because of that, I think they're going to have another good week on the offensive side, and we're going SMU. And because screw Louisville.
Screw Louisville. It's, what is it, Louisville, App State, and Florida State now on the list?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Next game. Dude, so I have Ole Miss here, but I am cheering for the Cox, man. I'm 100% on Brock's train this week. I just think that Ole Miss bounces back. I know it is on the road, but I just think they got to bounce back this week. But I will be cheering for the Gamecocks for Brock. But
same situation. I'm Jackson Dart is going to have a good performance, I feel like, in this one. It's a good opportunity for them to bounce back, so I'm going to go Ole Miss in this one.
Okay. Next game, absolutely rat line. And also there was 2 rat lines in my opinion this past week. And of course, both probably should have taken the cheese. That was UCF minus 14.5 against Colorado. Like, who made that line? That is the most absurd line I've ever seen. And then how is Baylor favored over BYU?
Yeah.
That also, and of course, both of the rat lines hit. So this is another one. And I felt like we saw a lot of it in college basketball this past year. Just so many rat lines, and squares were just feasting. So I'm just going to be a square here and take Michigan. I really also don't think Washington is that good, man. I watched a little bit of their game Friday against Rutgers, and like, I'm not really moved. So
I agree with you. These last 2 games, there's not too much thought going into these picks. So I'm going Michigan with you.
Yeah. And then last game, I'm probably cheering for Cal. Sorry, Brock. But I think Miami gets it done.
I agree. Miami's going to get a win. 2 touchdown victory for Kim.
Okay. Do you like his celly there that he has, or?
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that's all about, but I like it. Yeah, it's catchy.
I know it's something. Let's get into our underdogs of the week before we sign off here. Chase, who do you got?
Yeah, my underdogs stink, by the way, so probably just fade this, but I'm going to go Ashton Daniels at home here against VTech. VTech, dude, they're just on the struggle bus, man. So, and I think Stanford's a solid team. They didn't really look good against Clemson, but back at home, bounce back week. I think they can keep it within a touchdown against VTech. So we're going Stanford and Ashton Daniels.
I'm going SMU +7 against Louisville.
That's it? Okay.
That's pretty much it. I know you said not to pick Louisville games, but here I am doing that.
Yeah, that is a little risky, but
I like risking it, man.
That's right. Perfect.
All right. Well, anything else before we sign off here?
I don't think so. I think I'm all good.
Perfect. For everybody tuning in, thank you. If you're watching us on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud, make sure to leave a rating as well. Follow us on all social media platforms at 515 Podcast. We'll be back next week with a 515 Sports Pod episode, and the Hardwood Combos returns as the NBA season gets closer. So Hunter Rose will be back on the podcast with us too, and Dawson Livingston. So thank you for everybody who tuned in, and we will see you guys next week.